Jamar, you're on. You can welcome everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thanks for having me to your meeting, and welcome to all the viewers who are tuning in at home or in their locations. My name is Jamar Williams. I am the CEO and founder of Promo Drone. We're an aerial drone banner promotions and marketing company located in San Diego. What we do is we fly cool drones with innovative banners at large-scale outdoor events for some of the big brands, marketing agencies, et cetera, in Southern California. Similar to airplane banners, except we're a little bit more intimate, much more intimate actually, as we're flying them at low altitude. We're a sight and sound experience. So when people see the drone, hear the drone, they get excited and tend to pull out their mobile device to share the experience with others. So we drive impressions, we expand your opportunity and outreach to new customers, and we help to boost your conversion, factoring your ROI on your outdoor marketing spend. What we're excited about is we're soon evolving a little bit, I guess, from our standard two banner concept to a digital display. So soon you'll see drones with digital displays, complete with AI and machine learning that are able to give analytic reporting post-flight, similar to what most marketers are accustomed to from an online platform, online portal with the dashboard access, the results of your campaign. Offline and outdoors, that's typically been challenging. So what we've done is created a system that will not only get you the exposure and excitement you're looking for, but actually tell you who's looking at your ad from an archetype demographic standpoint, type of consumer, age, race, gender, and with qualifying scores of happiness even attached to that advertisement. So hyper-targeted ads with post-flight analytics. We're excited to be building it and kicking it off here in San Diego. So thanks for having me, and welcome to everybody that's contributing and attending the meeting today.
Thanks, Jamar. We'll let you start it off for us, Stephen.
Awesome. Thanks, Curling. Yeah, thank you for everyone tuning in. Thanks, Jamar, for the intro. If you're tuning in on YouTube, feel free to give us a like, leave a comment down below. All the interaction we get with videos like this help push it out to more people. So if you found something really cool, really insightful, really awesome about the video today, leave a comment, leave a like, and it may push it out to somebody who, might find it equally as insightful. And who knows, you might network in the comments, right? This is a great community we're a part of. So yeah, but we have an awesome speaker today in Sallay. So I will hand it over to Sallay and give her the reins here.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Curling, Joanna, I want to say thank you again for having me out for a Fokcus event. My name is Sallay Kim, and I am the owner of Serenity Event Solutions. And I'm excited again today that Curling's invited me out to share my entrepreneurial story with each of you. Curling, Joanna, the work that you do, the benefits that your cohorts receive from this. I truly wish I had something like this when I was starting off, but I'll kind of share a number of items with you today that I feel have helped me be successful as a business owner. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us, and thanks for working through these technical difficulties with me. Having patience there. Again, I'm Sallay Kim. I'm owner of Serenity Event Solutions, and my life it's had some prevailing themes. It's been the pursuit, the perseverance, passion, and pivot. And pivot, of course, having to do with COVID-19. I think we've all kind of been there. I want to say that I didn't know at the beginning that this was the life that I was creating for myself. We just don't know those things every time, but in sharing my journey today, I want to share some of the tools that I think have helped me be a successful business owner. I want to say I'm not an expert. Nobody's an expert. Well, maybe some people are, but I do know that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I truly believe in that. So I'll just give you a little background because my founder story starts a little bit earlier. It starts when my parents came here from Sierra Leone, West Africa, back in the 70s. I like to say I was born here by the skin of my teeth.
That's great.
Which is fortunate. I'm first generation American. I'm the first of three girls. And I would say that growing up as an African American was very unique. In that, you grow up as an African at home, and then when you go to school every day, you learn how to become an American. You learn all the cultural things you're supposed to know as an American when you go to school. And then you try to share that with your parents, and that does not go very well. Uh, I'd say that my experiences as a child are completely ingrained in who I've become and what I believe in. I think that sacrifice and struggles experienced early on have largely played, a part in who I am today. So at this point, I'm a pretty decent high school student. I'm ready to go to college, and I have no way to pay for school. Um, can't wrap my head around the fact that school is how much it costs to go to college. And I just, at that point, didn't know as an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, what I wanted to study. And I think that a lot of people are in that boat. So for me, knowing that I needed to make some decisions, I decided to join the Army. This turned out to be a really good decision, and it started my pursuit. Pursuit is known as the action of following or pursuing someone or something. And I will tell you, the Army was my something. I enlisted at the age of 17. I went to basic training and AIT. I learned how to be a soldier. I gained a skill set. And I like to say that I grew up twice in America as a child. And then those first number of years in the military, I really learned so many things that I needed to know to be the person that I was going to be today. I, I gained a lot of independence. I was financially responsible. My puppy's trying to come in and be a part of the Zoom meeting.
Oh, no problem. Sorry.
I learned discipline, responsibility, dependability. I learned how to be a leader. I learned how to be an effective team member. I learned the art of hard work and planning. Physical fitness became part of that daily thing that you do. Even if you didn't like it, it just became ingrained in who you were. And I had a skill set in the intelligence field, which was pretty awesome. It wasn't as if I was going to McDonald's and learning how to make some fries. I actually had a skill set that I could go out and make money with. Again, at this point, I didn't know I was signing up for 21 years of service. This was going to be a 4-year stint. I was going to come and get educated and move on. But instead, I traveled the world. I learned new cultures. I learned how to set goals for myself. One of the items here is my 5-year plan. Every year I was putting together, updating my plan as to where I wanted to be in 5 years. Just really trying to be very, I would say, just in terms of moving forward with my life, being very deliberate about how I was going about it. And that 5-year plan really helped. The next thing I did after about 7 years of learning how to be a soldier, I applied for officer candidate school. And I spent the next 13 years as an intelligence officer, which was fantastic. But as I was coming up on, the end of my career, part of that 5-year plan, I'm at year 15, year 16, and I'm recognizing that, what's my plan after the service? We're starting to touch into those points. And so I picked up this awesome book called What Should I Do With My Life by Poe Bronson. And I have recommended it to so many friends and family. I look at it as a book of a workbook that helped me figure out who I was, where my strengths were, where my weaknesses were, what I wanted to really do outside of the military. Because even though I had the skill set and I knew how to be an intelligence officer, and there were plenty of jobs in the DC area where we were at the time that I could have taken on, it just wasn't that thing that I was passionate about, And so with this book, it helped me realize that I was really good at planning. I'm, organizing. All of that is part of the foundation of who you are. When you're not in command in the military, you're planning someone else's command. So with that said, I started researching careers in event management, a field that I didn't even know existed. If you can imagine, who doesn't even know that a career field exists? And that's what they jump into. So I decided to go back to school, and I got a graduate degree in event management. And felt that that would be the way to really kind of put together the entirety of my experiences in planning, as well as having the education of what officially an event planner should do. So as my military career was wrapping up, I had been assigned to an organization that allowed me to kind of hone my skill set in this, specifically event management, in terms of planning and managing senior official meetings and conferences. So it was just all kind of coming together. And so my time in the military was phenomenal. It was a really good experience for me. And I think it really set me up for the person that I was going to be and the joy that I was going to find post-service. Well, we come into my third P, perseverance. And this is the persistence in doing something difficult, despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. And I will tell you that transitioning from the military was difficult. It was, you go from everybody knowing who you are when you walk into a room because you have on a uniform, you've got on, there's name tag, there's what unit you belong to, some of your accomplishments are on your chest, and everybody recognizes those things and they know what that means. Well, you become a civilian and none of that happens anymore. You walk into a room and if you don't say something to somebody, if you don't introduce yourself to somebody, you could very well be a wallflower, and that's not very helpful. After reading this book by Poe Bronson, I decided, and obviously consulting with my husband, decided that I was going to start my event planning company. And I even remember the day when we were driving out to Chesapeake Bay from our home in Northern Virginia. We were talking about names. What are we going to name it? What's it going to be? And I finally came upon Serenity. And I thought, well, it just can't be Serenity. People need to know what your business means, what you do. And so it was Serenity Event Solutions. So we offer peace of mind every time. And so that became my company name and my tagline, and everything else just started falling into place. So we offer, we focus on corporate, nonprofit, and small business organizations for the planning of everything from the concept of their event all the way through the actual execution, as well as an after action review where we look at what went well, what could have been better. And that helps them, even if they don't hire me again, but it helps them figure out how to move forward the next time. So things were going great. I started my company. I had a business partner, and then I didn't. I signed a huge contract with the government, and then it fell through. And this was all very difficult. It was challenging for me at best, because Serenity at this point, even 10, 11 years ago, was an extension of who I am, And so the trials and tribulations that I was facing there were personal. They were personal to me. It felt like, this is happening to me. I've got to fix it. How do I fix it? Luckily for me, my husband is an entrepreneur as well. So I was able to come home and talk to him about it. And guess what? He gave me that boost that I needed to kind of persevere, to just keep moving, right? Getting into business development, figuring out who else I could bring on as clients to help fill the void of that government contract that I had lost. On top of all of this, we also moved to San Diego because, here we were 3-4 years after the fact of my retirement, and we could now just live where we wanted to live. It was no longer where the Army sent me. And so with that said, we decided on San Diego. San Diego, why? Well, the weather's beautiful. We knew nobody in San Diego. But we knew it would be the place to be. And so here we are, we've moved, and I'm still thinking about, okay, here's another obstacle to my business. Now I've got to start all over again, because even though I'd gained some clients in DC, now I'm in California. How do I go about this? And so I had to go and find some new clients. And so that period of time it was tough. And it taught me a lot about who I was, and those struggles have butterflied into a they turned into a beautiful butterfly. So what I did do is I found my passion. Passion is described as strong and barely controllable emotion. And Warren Buffett is typically heard saying the key to success is happiness. Not success equals happiness, but that the key to success equals happiness. So now what I'll do is I'll tell you that I'm passionate. I'm passionate about event management. I'm passionate about what I do every day. I was severely naive in starting my company, but over the years, I've learned so much on the job. I've grown with each experience, adding new capabilities with every event that I do. I'm extremely confident in what I, and leading my clients through conferences, and I have found joy in everything that pertains to what I do for work. Now, so that's my founder story. Now we'll switch a little bit and talk about the things I would tell little Sallay. And what I want to focus on here is those things outside of your business that I think that are extremely helpful in helping you, helpful to be successful. And so one of the first things that I'll talk to you about is education. You should be proactively working on bettering yourself always. And it doesn't have to be formal. It could be, the books that you read. It could be joining a professional book club, working with a mentor, taking classes, certificates, anything that improves yourself, improves the experience for your clients as well as for your team members. When I found out that a master's in event management didn't really mean a lot in the event management world because it was still so very new, I thought, okay, what's relevant? And then I found out, oh, you've got to get a certificate. If you have a certificate, people recognize who you are. And so I went out and I studied and I was able to get my CMP, my Certified Meeting Professional Certificate. When professionals see those letters behind my name, they know I'm not a fly-by-night event planning company, party planning company, if you will. I joined the Alumni Association's professional book reading club, reading books that I wouldn't have necessarily picked out for myself. And then, I've taken a few certificate courses here and there. I even did one more recently in women in leadership. And I've realized that there are a lot of women that don't necessarily feel they have the leadership skills. And so that opened my eyes to when my team members feel that way, I can relate to that now because my experience is just very different from other people. So all of this ties directly back to your business being successful. Community service is extremely important. And my military service, my military career was a life in service. So when I left the military, I had to find ways to continue giving back to the community. And this platform here is kind of twofold for me because as an event management, being in event management, what you find is people always want you to be on their team. They always want an event planner on their team. They want you to do the work that they could pay somebody to do, but maybe not pay you to do it. And so, it's hard to say no. As a woman, it's hard to say no. You feel like you have to help everybody. And so I was in a catch-22 because I found myself always, okay, I'll take that on. But at some point you have to start earning money and you can't volunteer all of your time. And so it took me a while to figure this out, but over the years, I came up with a plan of committing to 2 to 3 events or organizations each year that I would commit my time to pro bono, no strings attached. And so I had to find out again, like, what am I passionate about? If you find that thing that you're passionate about, then it's not work. And so for me, it's the military community. And so I volunteer my time to the Miramar National Cemetery Support Foundation. I currently serve as the president of that board. We're responsible for beautifying the cemetery area, via monuments. We've done the Avenue of Flags over there. I don't know if any of you have been over there, but you can see the flags if you're driving up 805 North. You can see them off on the right-hand side as you're passing Noble Drive. I sit on the board for Military and Transition Firefighter for a Day. We help military members transitioning from the service that are interested in becoming firefighters or working in fire services. We help them with their education, and we help them find careers in that field. And then I also volunteer at the Veterans Association for North County, doing various odds and ends over there. And so, this part of the things that I think that you really should commit to outside of the business, I think this one is important because in terms of your business, it shows that you're committed to your community as well as brings a level of trust to your clients almost immediately. So there's that. Family and friends. I think this one is truly important because you really have to surround yourself with good people. You have to surround yourself with people that cheerlead for you and that you can cheerlead for as well. I learned very early on that not everybody needs to be your closest friend. I'd read somewhere that your 5 closest friends are really a representation of who you are. And that's what the world sees when they see you with these people, or they know that these people are your friends. And so with that said, I really had to kind of look at who I was surrounding myself with and just be a little more deliberate, not only in those friendships, but in ensuring that I had the right people around me, and that I was being the friend that I wanted them to be to me. And so that ties back to the business as well, because these are the people that are going to tell their networks about who you are and what you do. And then exercise. This is what releases, it just really lets you release some of the frustrations that you can have in business and dealing with work. And again, you find things that you love. I love community events or working out with my girlfriends. So these are some of my girlfriend events that I've done. But I also love my Peloton. I love boxing and yoga. So if you're finding those things that you love, then it's not really a lot of work. I look forward to doing these things because they bring me joy. So these, business leaders, we need outlets, to all those frustrations, as I mentioned. And then this one's just a little bonus. I love to travel with my husband. We have gone all over the world. We've explored nooks and crannies. Some of them we don't want to go back to, but just making memories, just everywhere, meeting up with some of our military friends in those locations as well. So pre-COVID, I'd say I was living my joy. Now, we've all been here. Last March was a tough time for everybody. When you pivot, you turn on or as if on a pivot. And the world was turned upside down. My business, I thought work was over, in-person events had gone away. And I thought to myself, Sallay, maybe it's now time for you to truly wrap up what you were doing. What I didn't foresee was that virtual events were going to take over the world and people were still going to need my assistance. And so when I tell you that I've learned a lot with each new event. This past year, I learned so much in terms of technology. We've gone to various platforms to put on events. We've gone to platforms that mimic a conference center with an auditorium, and there's an exhibit hall and poster sessions. There's all types of things going on, which is fun. We're exploring multiple languages now for some of these events. But the skill set is still very much in need, and I just had to make that adjustment. Community service, I had to adjust there as well. When everybody was going out on their balconies downtown and banging on pots and pans, I was feeling a little guilty because we're just sitting at home, working from home. Like, what am I doing for my community right now? I know that's an important part of who I am. How can I continue to make that relevant. And so the Veterans Association of North County, they started a drive-through food drive that month, just happened to start this food drive. And so I go out and volunteer to help give out food to veteran families in need. We feed hundreds of families every month now. And it really makes me feel a part of the community and knowing that I'm helping. Miramar National Cemetery, we went to virtual events. We've showcased them on YouTube. We did that for both Memorial Day as well as Veterans Day. And it's just, I feel like we're continuing to do what we need to, I'm continuing to do what I need to do to be a relevant part of the community. Our military in transition firefighter for a day is going virtual as well. So, and then family, everybody went to Zoom calls. We went to Zoom calls with our family every week. We would check in with everyone and see how they were doing. We eventually pulled it back to every 2 weeks. And now our new norm is once a month. Everybody gets on the horn, all the siblings from both sides and their children, and we just catch up with what's going on in life. We also do happy hours with our friends. We're very social creatures. And so our happy hours have been, our weeks are full of happy hours. Just, hey, what's going on with you? With various sets of friends throughout. And so that's been good. And then last but not least, I have been I'm so glad I had that Peloton because at the time that I did, because I was fortunate enough not to gain the dreaded COVID-19 weight during that time frame. And so, with that established routine, it just really helped out. All of these help keep me sane during this past year where life has just been truly different for all of us. So again, I share some of those. These are my tools that have helped me find my joy. And I didn't talk about this guy right here in the center. That's my husband, Tay. We met in the military over 20 years ago, and he has been, if you can find your person, like you have your person, right, Curling?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you find your person, and it really just makes everything else quality. You can get through anything else from there. So there I am, Curling. That's what I would tell my little self.
I love that. It's so great. It's funny. It's like we've been talking to people about the founder story. We even had a whole thing of like, you need to make sure you have pictures in your founder story so people can know about that. That's how we kind of work. So thanks for showing all the different pictures. I see Tay, all your travels, and again, thank you for your service. And I didn't know all the things you were doing during the pandemic. So it was just nice just to see that, Sallay. Like that's amazing.
It's crazy, Curling, because you don't think about all the things that you're doing until you start putting it all together and you're thinking, well, I have 3 other jobs that I do on top of my work.
Right, exactly.
that I never even think about because I'm doing what I love. And so I'm making the time to do those things. And again, when you're doing those things, the community, your clients see that.
I love that. I love that.
The trust is there.
I know there's one thing that I was going to add in, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. If you guys have questions, maybe send it on the chat first, and we can do that way. But as you guys are thinking about questions for Sallay, there was one thing that you had on the screen, but you talked about that being part of the Distinguished Speaker Series, where I was actually honored to be part of that board with you. Like, you were so professional. In fact, I used to tell John like how professional you were, and I learned some things about how you take notes and keep things in perspective for people. It was just really great because that was kind of like one of my first kind of boards to be on here. So thank you for just
you definitely are our role model. We always talk about like, how would Sallay do that?
Exactly.
Definitely
what would Sallay do during the board meeting?
Looks so polished when she's standing up there introducing everybody. Is amazing.
Oh, thank you. So Curling, kind of going back to that, those 2 to 3 things that I do each year, they change up. They can change up. The Distinguished Speaker Series, although it wasn't military, it was a lot of fun. And so it was one of the first boards that I joined here in San Diego. It's insane. I picked up so many clients from that.
Oh, that's great. So that's just a really good example.
Marketing.
Yeah, it's a good with that awareness. I know offhand, we'll wait for some more questions offhand. I know it's really, I think we had one from Brianna. Brianna, did you want to unmute yourself and ask that question?
Yeah. Thank you so much for your talk today. It was amazing. My question was for you was when you moved to San Diego from DC, how did you rebuild your customer base and how hard was it?
It was tough. I'm glad you asked that question because it was very deliberate. So, I told you I retired, so I have a pension. My husband was on board with me starting this company. Again, very naive in starting a company in a career field that I'd never actually worked in specifically. But when we moved here to San Diego, I decided within, the first 6 months after I contemplated whether or not I was going to keep the company going, I decided to be a part of various networking groups to meet people. I joined the business club downtown, the university club. That's where I joined the Distinguished Speaker Series board. I went to various networking events and I just decided what worked for me. And what didn't work for me was going to a networking event where somebody just comes up to you, wants to find out what you do, and then walks off when they realize that you're not who they need you to be.
Yeah.
So I had to, you really have to, you don't need to waste your time going to those types of events, but you have to experience that before you can say, no, I don't want to be a part of that. And so I did that for the first year. It was, I'll take it all on. The second year, I started to hone it down to this is what's been successful for me, and started picking up little things here and there. But it took me about 2 years to really just become a part of the community and build my clientele. Thanks for the question.
Oh, thank you for the answer.
Thanks, Brianna. You know what, Joanna, you always have a question. Joanna do you have a question for?
Well, I did want to say, I know I kind of went off the beaten path and not talking specifically about business, but I think these are just those things that really help you be successful in business when you've got to have balance within life. And we don't necessarily think about that as entrepreneurs. When I first started, when I left the service and those first few years of that transition, I wasn't actively taking care of all of these pieces. I wasn't, working out. I stopped working out. I was like, I don't have to anymore. I'm so excited about not working out. And then I realized years later, I was like, I really need to. It gave me that sense of normalcy to just be able to let all of that stuff go. Community service, I was here and there, I wasn't deliberate about my community service, but I did get into a few, I started a motivational speaker series for the Wounded Warrior Battalion back in the DC area out at Walter Reed. I worked with the honor flights that came into Arlington Cemetery. I was at the Women in Military Service for America, and we would help the honor flights that came in have lunches with World War II veterans, hearing their stories. So I was kind of on the right path, but now I'm very deliberately on the right path. So yeah, these are just those things that I think will really just lend to your business.
I think one thing I would add, Sallay, the one thing that really resonated with me, and I've heard this, there's a guy named Paul Graham, Sallay, in a group, he runs a group called Y Combinator. They started Dropbox and Airbnb and all these great startups. But Paul Graham always says, Sallay, he says, I want the founders to have this balance. I want them to focus on the product, the customer, but have some time with family, exercise, sleep well. And people, the founders were really, they were a little perplexed about exercise, sleep well. What's that mean, right?
Why do we have to do that?
Exactly.
You don't sleep as an entrepreneur.
Right. So he always says that third part was probably one of the most important part he had to teach his founders. And we haven't really talked about that too much. So I love the fact that you actually put this into perspective for us. And that's great. That's the only thing I was going to add to that.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be these things. and specifically, but
Yeah.
whatever it is that helps you find balance. These are the things that help me.
That's great. I cut off Joanna H.
Oh,
You have a question, Joanna?
Oh, I asked, I was just sort of processing you talking about your husband being an entrepreneur, but your husband has his own business. It's not your business together, right?
No, we're not together. He's just kind of, I would say he's my mentor, because he started his company, the Massey Group, 3 or 4 years before I retired. He left the military after 10 years of service, and we knew that we needed to have multiple streams of income. So there was going to be my retirement income, and with him starting his company back then in 2007, I believe it was, if they were successful, that would be the second stream of income. His story is phenomenal. He started off with 5 business partners, well, 4, there were 5 of them. And today they're just the 2 of them, the 2 that didn't even know each other.
Oh, wow.
And they have built this amazing company. He's a defense contractor. And so he kept in he stayed in the military intelligence world, the intelligence world. And they provide intelligence services to the government. He is just a great sounding board. Part of that education is having a mentor, finding somebody to talk to, finding somebody to bounce ideas off of. And it was good because this guy is right in my house.
That's great. I love that.
I can relate to that. I totally relate to that. Curling is definitely my mentor too.
Yeah. So very fortunate to have found my person, but also to have found my mentor, and one of my mentors in life and in business.
That's great. I know, Stephen, we have a couple of minutes before we start speed networking. You want to add some of the questions that we had from the cohort?
Sure. Yeah. I'll pose a question or two. I know, Sallay, you might have covered some of this before, but are there some big things that you were able to take from your career in the military that really helped you out when you kind of started, your business and kind of started going down that path, post retirement as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say that we did kind of touch on a number of those. Leadership being the biggest one by far. Having that experience, the military teaches you with each promotion, you're going back to school and you're learning about leadership, what is required of you at various levels. It's not just education in your skill set, it's education in how to lead. Very poignant discussions, lots of trial and error that occurs during those educational times. And then you go back out into the field and to the real world and you apply them. So that was key, because I find myself as a leader in every client interaction. I lead all of their meetings. I lead all of their events. Having that confidence to do that, confidence in myself and ensuring that my clients feel that and they have confidence in me as well was key. So yes, military, that would be the number one thing. The exercise thing was ingrained in my head and I thought I could get away from it, but it just kept coming back and I needed it. I needed it to be sane. So I'm glad, when you're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go run or, work out on the wet grass, and it's not fun. It can be eventually, but at that time, you just want to be in bed. So that was good. And then Stephen, there's so many things that the service prepares you for that I don't know that I would have gotten had I not joined, so it was good for me. And I'm not recommending that everybody go join the service tomorrow.
But I love that we can glean some of these perspectives from you too. And I know offhand, we want to make sure we have we'll put like in chat just your email, so we'll have so people can connect with you.
Sure,
that
sure.
you can put in chat. Well, as you do that, we just want to thank you, Sallay, for like all the love and support, right? And you're always really authentic. As I said, Sallay, whatever you want to talk about, just talk about it. It's totally great. But I love all the pictures and I love learning all these things and seeing you and Tay and all this stuff is really great. I think it helped me out a lot too. It really on that balance part. So thanks for giving me that perspective too.
Yeah, you know, business owners, we get so wrapped up in I gotta fix this, I gotta do that, and
Yeah,
especially now with COVID, everything is you're on your phone all the time. So
Yeah.
you've got to find that time to just be Sallay, be Curling, be Steven.
that's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Curling. Joanna, thank you for having me today. Thanks to the cohort for letting me share my story. And I absolutely am available for any questions. If you just want to chat one-on-one, I'm here.
That's
I'll put
great.
my info in the
Yeah, put in a
chat.
chat, and what we'll do, Stephen, we'll have you wrap up, and we'll start the speed networking. The speed network is about 5 minutes. Sallay will probably we'll pair you up with someone, but we all get paired up for 5 minutes and just talk about what we just learned and absorb. But we'll let you wrap up, Stephen.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, for those who want to stick around for speed networking, feel free to do so. If you don't have time or if you have to jump off early, feel free to jump off, and everyone who's left will pair you up with speed networking. Like Curling said, we kind of do this thing at the end of our tech school sessions. For those of you who might be new, pair you up, everyone up for 5 or 7 minutes, have a chance to network with somebody. It's all random pairing, so you could be paired with Sallay, you could be paired with Curling, could be paired with anyone here. So somebody before, somebody you might not know. So it's pretty fun. But just to wrap things up. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thanks, Sallay, for jumping on and speaking, sharing your story and all these great insights. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to give us a like, leave a comment down below. Just to echo what was said at the beginning, all the interactions we get with videos like this help push it out to more people. So that like you leave or that comment that you leave could help push this video out to somebody who could really benefit from a lot of things Sallay shared today. So it's an easy way to give back to the community. But as always, we will see you in the next video.